Hi everyone, my name is Mark, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you. Tom Clayton played for the United Hockey League, 2 steps below the NHL, for the Elmira, New York Jackals. Because of his role on the Jackals, Tom was a local celebrity in Elmira. He was known as an agitator, someone who antagonized players by verbal or physical incitement. On the rink, Tom was aggressive and confident, and carried that attitude into real life. Just like in his hockey games, he had no problem standing up for himself and protecting his interests. Tom's reputation as a tough player on the ice extended to his personal life, and people knew he wouldn't be easily intimidated. In addition to his aggressive nature, Tom was known for his good looks. Women couldn't help but notice him, and Tom took advantage of his charm. Whenever Tom went out, he never had to pay for a drink or dinner. He was living the high life, enjoying the perks that came with being a popular hockey player. While there were numerous random women in and out of Tom's life, one in particular caught his attention. Her name was Kelley Clayton, and she was different from many other women Tom encountered. Kelley was born in West Elmira and was known for her outgoing and sassy personality. Her love for country music led her to travel to Nashville, where she immersed herself in the vibrant music scene. While attending college with the aspirations of becoming a teacher after graduation, Kelley's plans took an unexpected turn. She decided to move to Las Vegas, Nevada, where she embarked on a new journey as a cocktail server and a model. During one Christmas holiday while back home to celebrate with her family, Kelley attended a hockey game in Elmira. It was there that she met Tom Clayton. Tom caught her attention with his looks and skillful movements on the ice. After the game, Kelley and Tom unexpectedly crossed paths at a bar. Their initial encounter led to an instant connection, and the spark between them was undeniable. Despite some reservations from Kelley's friends and family who occasionally found Tom's behavior inappropriate, Kelley remained firmly committed to their relationship. She defended Tom, claiming he was kidding when he made his remarks, blinded by her love for him. Eventually, Kelley and Tom married, but unfortunately 1 year later, Tom was injured while playing hockey, ending his career. After Tom retired from hockey, he began working a 9-to-5 with ServPro, a company that helped clean up large messes after disasters. Tom's job provided him with a stable income and allowed him to provide for his family. Meanwhile, Kelley dedicated herself to caring for Tom and their 2 children, Charlie and Cullen. She loved being a mother more than anything in the world. Kelley went above and beyond to provide the best for her children and create a loving and nurturing home for them. To the outside world, the Claytons appeared to be the perfect family. Tom and Kelley seemed to have it all, with a thriving marriage and 2 children. They lived in a secluded mountain home that Kelley adored. However, in September of 2015, their lives were forever changed. A tragic event would shake the foundation of their seemingly idyllic existence. On the night of September 29, 2015, Tom Clayton headed out after work to play poker at his friends Greg and Linda Miller's house, leaving Kelley home alone with the children. When Tom arrived home from the poker game, he made a horrific discovery. His wife, Kelley, lay lifeless on the kitchen floor, covered in blood. Panic-stricken, Tom immediately called 911. 911, help me, my wife. She's dead. Hurry. Okay, just stay on the line with me. How long has she been down? I don't know, I just got home. You need to calm down so I can help you. Is she beyond CPR? Yes, sir. Can you tell me why you think she was beyond CPR? That's dusty. The dispatcher instructed Tom to perform CPR on his wife, but Tom, devastated, informed the dispatcher that Kelley was beyond any help. Around midnight, an officer arrived at Tom and Kelley Clayton's house. Upon entering the residence, the officer was taken aback by the scene that awaited him. In the kitchen, he found Kelley lying lifeless on the floor. Her face was disfigured, evident of blunt force trauma. Blood was spattered everywhere, creating a chilling sight. The officer's initial reaction was to secure Tom Clayton and remove him from the house. Once outside, the officer approached Tom and asked him what had happened. Tom replied that he was unsure of the exact details. He stated that he had returned home to find his wife in this condition, and his daughter, Charlie, had informed him that there was a robber in the house. Being cautious, the officer examined Tom's hands for signs of a struggle, or evidence suggesting that Tom played a role in the attack. However, the officer observed nothing out of the ordinary. Prompted by the severity of the situation, the officer called for backup. A paramedic arrived at the scene and declared Kelley Clayton deceased. The brutal nature of her death prompted the police department to launch an all-hands-on-deck investigation. As police officers cordoned off Tom and Kelley's home as a crime scene, Tom made a phone call to Kelley's sister, Kim, and delivered the heartbreaking news that Kelley had passed away. In shock, Kim rushed to the scene along with their mother, Liz. Upon arrival, they were greeted by crime scene tape and flashing lights from patrol cars. The sight only intensified their fear and anxiety. Determined to locate Kelley, Kim and Liz ran towards the ambulance, hoping they would find paramedics working to save her. However, the officers on the scene refused to allow them to get too close. Despite their desperation, they were told that they could not view Kelley, as Kelley did not look like she did in life. The news that Kelley had been killed and her body was now unrecognizable shattered Kim and Liz's hearts. They broke down, their sobs filling the air as they screamed in anguish. As the scene unfolded, a coroner van arrived. With a heavy heart, Kim, Liz, and the officers presented joined hands to pray for Kelley's soul as her body was transported into the van in a body bag. As the night progressed and the crime scene investigators meticulously searched through Kelley and Tom's house and property, their efforts yielded no new evidence pointing towards a suspect. They diligently combed through each room, but to no avail. The investigators could not locate a murder weapon at the scene, but based on Kelley's injuries, they determined it was a light object. The investigators determined that the attack on Kelley took place while she was sleeping peacefully in the master bedroom on the second floor. It was evident that the attacker had struck her with a blunt object. Following the attack on Kelley, it is believed she attempted to make a run for safety and sought refuge in Charlie's bedroom. There was a significant amount of blood discovered in that bedroom, leading investigators to believe that Kelley had barricaded herself inside. However, evidence suggested that the attack continued, as there was a hole in the landing wall that appeared to be caused by Kelley's body being pushed down the stairs. Upon getting up after the fall down the stairs, Kelley made her way to the kitchen, where the suspect eventually caught up to her. In a violent encounter, the suspect bludgeoned Kelley in the head and face, inflicting severe injuries that resulted in her death. Even though Tom Clayton told the first officer on the scene that his daughter Charlie had said a robber had been in the house, the investigators who searched the home found no indication of forced entry, and nothing was missing. Moreover, all of the expensive jewelry belonging to Kelley was still present and untouched, and the safe was intact. Due to the brutality of Kelley's death, the detective began to wonder if it was the result of a domestic violent dispute. However, Tom Clayton claimed to have an alibi, stating that he was playing poker at his friend's Greg and Linda Miller's house the entire night. If true, this would have made it impossible for him to murder Kelley. When an officer questioned Tom and Kelley's neighbor at the crime scene, the neighbor stated that he did not believe the couple had any issues and appeared happy. At the police station, detectives interviewed Tom Clayton regarding his wife's murder. Tom reiterated his alibi that he was playing poker the night in question. The detectives then decided to question the other players Tom mentioned being at Greg and Linda Miller's house that evening. All the players confirmed that Tom was present. Although Tom had a solid alibi for his wife's murder, the detectives found him to be strangely calm considering the situation. They asked him several times if he had anything to do with Kelley's murder, and Tom denied it every single time. Unfortunately, Tom and Kelley's 7-year-old daughter, Charlie, witnessed the entire assault on her mother, Kelley, and the detectives needed to question her. The detectives, recognizing the importance of protecting Charlie's well-being, decided to take a different approach when asking her about her mother's murder. Rather than immediately delving into the details of the incident, they took the time to make her feel comfortable. They engaged in lighthearted activities, such as playing board games with her, before the serious discussion began. When the detectives finally approached the topic of the murder, they asked Charlie to describe what she had seen that night. According to Charlie, a robber had entered the house dressed in a mask, a long-sleeved black shirt, and jeans. The intruder had a white stick that resembled a metal pipe, and it was with this weapon that they assaulted Kelley. Charlie recalled that she heard Kelley yell, "Run, Charlie, run," as the assailant pushed her down the stairs. Charlie recounted that after Kelley was pushed down the stairs by the intruder, she followed and witnessed this person beat Kelley to death on the kitchen floor. She stated that she thought her mother was dead on the floor, so she lay next to her and hugged her leg. Throughout the interview, 7-year-old Charlie appeared detached from the situation. According to Charlie, the robber who hurt her mommy had the same eyes as her daddy. However, little Charlie told the detectives her dad couldn't have hurt her mommy because then who would take care of them? Based on all the evidence recovered from the crime scene and Charlie's statements, the detectives thought the intruder's goal was not to rob the house, but to murder Kelley. After the detectives questioned Tom Clayton, they charged him with second-degree murder in regard to his wife Kelley's death, based on his daughter's description of the intruder looking like him. Tom pleaded not guilty to the second-degree murder charge. He was released on bail and returned to the home where Kelley was murdered. He cleaned it up and continued to live there. Within 1 month after Kelley's murder, Tom began having sexual relations with various women, gambling in Atlantic City, and did not appear to be grieving. These actions raised suspicions among the detectives, who believed that Tom's actions were not those of a loving husband mourning the loss of his wife. However, Tom continued to profess his love for Kelley and said he would never hurt her. He was planning on taking her away for a second honeymoon. Tom was insistent that the detectives check his GPS records on his work truck, which indicated that he did not arrive home until 12:35 a.m. Despite verifying the time Tom came home through his vehicle's GPS, the detectives remained convinced that he was somehow involved in Kelley's murder. During the investigation, the detectives spoke to Greg and Linda Miller, whose house Tom was at playing poker. They mentioned that something seemed off about Tom on the night of the murder. According to Greg and Linda, Tom, normally happy and talkative, was quieter than usual and spent most of the night texting on his cell phone. However, they did not believe Tom was capable of harming his wife, Kelley. The detectives also spoke to Kim, Kelley's sister, as part of their investigation. They asked her if she knew of anyone who would want to hurt Kelley. Kim mentioned the name Michael Beard. Michael Beard was a close friend and co-worker of Tom Clayton, functioning as a right-hand man. Whenever Tom needed anything done, he would rely on Michael. Tom Clayton and Michael Beard's close relationship extended beyond their professional endeavors, as Michael also knew Tom's wife and children. There were instances when Kelley needed to run errands, and Michael would step in and sit with Charlie and Cullen while their mother was gone. Michael had high praise for Kelley and the children, describing them as beautiful people. In addition to being employed by Tom, Michael was also his landlord, as Tom owned the building where Michael and his family resided. They paid a monthly rental fee of $1,000. However, things took a turn for the worse when Michael was accused of drinking while working. As a result, Tom made the decision to fire him. This incident not only resulted in the loss of his job, but also created a financial burden for Michael, as he was already behind on the rent owed to Tom. Tom's decision to terminate Michael's employment not only affected his employment status, but also put his tenancy in jeopardy. Tom initiated eviction proceedings against Michael, further exacerbating his financial struggles. Michael found himself caught in a difficult position, facing both the loss of his job and the fear of losing his home. The detectives brought Michael Beard to the police station for an interview, with the intent of gathering information regarding Kelley's murder. During the interview, Michael stated that it was a tragedy that Kelley was killed, but claimed that he was at home the entire night. In the meantime, Linda Miller, where Tom had played poker on the night of Kelley's murder, recalled a specific memory that stood out. Tom had asked to use her cell phone, even though his phone appeared to be working fine at the time. According to Linda, Tom made the call at 10:53 p.m. Upon further investigation, Linda discovered that the number and details of the call had disappeared from her phone's records. It appeared that Tom had intentionally deleted the number he called. The detectives gained access to Greg and Linda Miller's cell phone records, which provided them with the phone number Tom had called on the night of the murder. After tracing the phone number, the detectives discovered it belonged to Michael Beard. Once the detectives learned Tom Clayton had called Michael Beard on the night of his wife's murder, they brought Michael back to the police department for an interview. However, Michael continued to deny the involvement in Kelley's murder. The detectives then decided to question Michael's partner, Holly. According to Holly, Michael was not home all night on the night of the murder and left the house around 11 p.m. Furthermore, Holly stated that Tom Clayton once approached Michael and asked him to burn down his and Kelley's house for $10,000, with the intention of collecting the insurance money. When Michael was confronted with this information, he decided to make a full confession to murdering Kelley. Michael confessed to murdering Tom's wife, Kelley, in exchange for a payment of $10,000. He claimed that he had agreed to kill the woman but never received any money from Tom. In a signed confession, Michael Beard laid out the entire plan, according to which he was supposed to go to Tom's house and murder his wife Kelley while the children were out at their grandmother's house. Tom instructed Michael to use the gas cans in the garage to burn the house down so that he could collect the insurance payouts for the damaged house and vehicles. However, Michael claimed that he never set the fire. Instead, he fled from the scene after murdering Kelley. Michael took the police and led them to the murder weapon, which was described as a sledgehammer-type object. When tested, it was found to contain Kelley's DNA. Additionally, Michael led them to an area where he had disposed of his bloody clothing items. Mark Blanford, a friend of Michael Beard's, contacted the detectives and provided a statement regarding his encounter with Michael on the night of the murder. He said Michael asked him to assist in a job and would pay him $500. However, Mark claimed he had no idea what job Michael was doing and assumed it was some sort of drug deal. According to Mark, Michael told him he had to kill a bitch, and Mark alleges that after Michael returned to the car, he mentioned that the children were not supposed to be at home. Michael Beard was subsequently arrested and charged with first-degree murder in relation to Kelley Clayton's death. Detectives believe that 7-year-old Charlie did not see her father during the attack, but rather mistook the attacker for her father due to the way he was dressed. Tom, Kelley's husband, had a substantial life insurance policy on Kelley that was recently increased before her murder. The detectives believe that this may have been the motive behind the murder, as Kelley would likely receive a significant portion of Tom's assets in the event of a divorce. Furthermore, the detectives believe that Tom Clayton not only intended to kill his wife, but also wanted his children murdered. Michael Beard supports this claim. He alleged that Tom Clayton confided in him the details of the planned murders. According to Michael, Tom Clayton informed him that the children would be staying at their grandmother's house and instructed him to set fire to the house after murdering Kelley. However, when he instructed Michael to set the fire, Tom Clayton knew his children would be at home and not at their grandmother's house. This information suggested a deliberate plan by Tom Clayton to ensure his children's demise as well. It implied that Tom wanted to eliminate any reminders of his former life with Kelley and start over as a child-free single bachelor. From the evidence gathered by the detectives, it appears that Tom Clayton's actions were driven by a desire to erase his past and start anew. Before Michael Beard's trial began, he recanted his confession and stated that he did not murder Kelley but instead walked into the Clayton home to find her on the ground covered in blood. Michael claimed that, as a black man in the house with a murdered white woman, he was afraid of how it would look and did not want the murder pinned on him. As a result, he fled the scene without contacting 911. Michael Beard claimed his signed confessions were coerced, but in 2016, he was found guilty and sentenced to life without parole. In an interview with 2020, Michael changed his story again and stated that he arrived at the Clayton home on the night Kelley was killed and saw a man running from the scene. He claimed this man ran into him, nearly knocking him down. However, Michael's revised statement raised several questions. If this information was true, why didn't he bring this up at the start of the investigation? Mark Blanford pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree manslaughter for acting as the lookout while Michael Beard murdered Kelley Clayton. The plea was part of a deal where Mark promised to testify against Tom Clayton. Although Mark had an extensive criminal record spanning over 30 years, he had never faced charges as serious as this one. At his sentencing hearing, Mark expressed remorse to Kelley's family and friends, apologizing for the role he played in her murder. During Michael's trial for his wife Kelley's murder, the state presented various women who claimed that they had been in relationships with Tom while he was married to Kelley. One of the women testified that Tom often spoke badly about his wife, calling her lazy. However, when Tom's defense team had the opportunity to counter the state's claims, they argued that having extramarital affairs did not automatically make him a murderer. Despite the defense's arguments, the jury found Tom guilty of second-degree murder. Today, Tom's children are thriving in the care of their Aunt Kim, Kelley's sister. The children have a strong support system, allowing them to continue their lives without their mother. To honor Kelley's memory, a park was built in a playground where she used to take her children to play. Her son even calls it Mommy's Bench.